So you want to land at a nursing job in Australia, but you have zero experience? Don't stress, I've been there too. I know how overwhelming it can feel when every job listing you look at asks for previous experience. But guess what? There's a way around it. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how you can secure your first nursing job in Australia with no experience, step by step. Step 1. Get your APRA registration sorted. Before you can even think of applying for jobs in Australia, you need to be registered with APRA, which is Australia's healthcare practitioner regulatory body. This is non-negotiable. You need to be registered with APRA before you can legally practice nursing in Australia. Here's how you get started. Well, first of all, you check the eligibility criteria with APRA to make sure that you meet all the requirements before even applying. Secondly, prepare your documents. This includes your nursing degree, your English test results, plus minus the police checks. There is a list of documents that you need to provide APRA before they can register you. And thirdly, submit your application early. It can take months for your APRA application to process. So don't wait until you have the job offer. Apply for it as early as you can. For university students who would be nearing their graduation, they would be applying for the nursing registration before they even graduate. And the university is usually on top of this, and they would be helping you with the whole process. So by the time you graduate, your nursing registration will come through, and then you can start practicing as a nurse legally in Australia. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail when it comes to APRA registration, but if this is something that you guys need help with, let me know in the comment section below and I'll try and make a separate video on just this topic. But basically, you should have APRA registration in progress if you don't have it already before you apply for jobs. Step 2. Craft a standout resume and a cover letter. Your resume is your first impression, and with no experience, you need to make sure that you make every word count. Don't just list your education. Show your clinical placements, your skills, your strengths that make you a great fit for the role. Now, as a new nurse, when you don't have a lot of experience or any experience in the field, it makes you wonder that what you should actually include in your resume, because there's not much to say. So let's go through a few things that I think are worthwhile mentioning in your resume. Well, the first one is clinical placements. It's impossible to mention all clinical placements on your resume, but make sure to mention the important ones, like your critical care and your high dependency clinical placements. So if you had a clinical placement in emergency, ICU, CCU, what you did there, all the skills you gained. Secondly, nursing assistant experience. So for those of you who worked as a nursing assistant during your nursing degree, make sure to mention that experience on your resume. As I've mentioned before in my other videos, I highly recommend securing a nursing assistant job during your nursing degree because it not only helps you refine your nursing skills, but it looks great on your resume when you apply for these new graduate positions. It really helps you stand out. Thirdly, you can talk about any transferable skills that you bring from your previous job experience. So even if you didn't have any previous job experience in the nursing field, whichever other area you worked in, for example, customer service, you can mention all the skills that you gained there and the skills you think you would be able to use in your nursing career as well. Highlight skills like teamwork, communication, time management. But if you have already worked in healthcare, that really helps you stand out. And lastly, you can also mention any additional courses and certificates that you've done. For example, basic life support or manual handling training. Any additional certificates that you might have done apart from your nursing degree, you can also mention on your nursing resume. And if you guys need a resume review, I actually offer one-on-one consultations. Check for the link in the description box below. This is only a short-term thing that I'm doing because I'm working part-time currently. So depending on when you're watching the video, the link may or may not be there. Step 3. Apply for graduate and entry-level jobs. The best way to get a nursing job with no experience, especially if you are a fresh graduate, is through new graduate programs. These are designed specifically for new nurses and they offer structured training throughout the whole program with mentorship and support. That's how I got my first nursing job as well. It was a new graduate program at one of the hospitals in Sydney, and it was a 12-month program where I was very well supported by all the educators on the board and the new grad coordinators themselves. There are so many hospitals across Australia who offer graduate programs to new graduate nurses. But if you are an international student who recently graduated, private hospitals in the country are more likely to give you a position when it comes to these new graduate programs than public hospitals. Because public hospitals are more likely to hire new grads who are Australian citizens and permanent residents. And if there's no other permanent resident or citizen to be employed at your very position, that's when you would be offered a position. But having said that though, I applied everywhere. So I would recommend that you just apply everywhere, including public and private hospitals. But it is very true that you're more likely to get a position in a private facility over a public one. Now, a few things to keep in mind when you're applying for these new grad programs. The first one is start early. Applications for new graduate programs usually open mid-year. So you want to make sure that you don't miss any deadline. And different new graduate programs will have different deadlines. But having all the paperwork ready, your cover letters, your resume, resumes in time. So when the applications actually open, you can straight away apply for the positions. But if you are a nursing student who is about to graduate, your university will actually be on top of this as well. And they will be sending you reminders and helping you with all your applications as well. And the dates get released pretty early, so make sure you mark them in your calendar so you don't miss any deadlines. And the second thing to keep in mind, which I've mentioned before as well, is apply to as many grad programs as you can, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, and if it doesn't work out, then you're just left behind. So my suggestion would be applying everywhere. So when I applied for my new grads, I applied for New South Wales Health, I applied for Ramsay Health, I applied for the private hospitals who were like individually operating, and also I think HealthScope is what I applied for as well. I wanted to make sure that I get one in time so I'm not left behind. So I can't stress enough the fact that you should apply everywhere. The other thing you want to keep in mind when it comes to these new grad applications is when you get to the interview stage of your application, make sure you prepare well for the interview, because these new grad applications are so competitive. So practice a few questions beforehand, do mock ones with your friends and family so you're comfortable enough answering the questions in the interview. And if you need help preparing for the interview, I've actually got separate videos on my channel just based on the interview part of your application, so make sure you check them out. Step 4. Use nursing agencies to your advantage. If you don't get into a graduate program, don't panic. There's another way: nursing agencies. These nursing agencies connect nurses with the hospitals, GP clinics, and aged care facilities who need staff ASAP. There are so many nursing agencies across the country. The popular ones that come to mind are Healthcare Australia, Your Nursing Agency, and Bupa and Allianz also have nursing agencies that you can sign up with. And there are so many advantages of signing up with agencies. Well, the first one is flexible work. You work on your own terms. So while you're looking for your full-time permanent role, you can sign up with an agency just for part-time work and get some experience on your resume. And the second advantage is the hiring process is so fast. Because these nursing agencies are always looking for staff, they will have you working in no time. And thirdly, which is the main one, diverse experience. You get exposure to so many different healthcare facilities and so many different healthcare settings, which makes you even more employable. And it looks really good on your resume when you're applying for your future roles. Because how it works with the agency nursing is they don't usually send you to the same ward or the same area. They will send you wherever nurses are needed, basically, which means that you will be getting a lot of good exposure to different healthcare settings, different wards, and that looks really good on your resume when you're applying for your permanent role. Many new nurses start with agencies to build experience, then they transition into their permanent roles. And when you work as an agency nurse going to different hospitals, you tend also to get an idea of which facility you like or which area of nursing you like, and you also make connections on the way, which can really work in your favor in finding a permanent role as well. And if you keep going to the same area of the hospital and they're always understaffed, you can always check with the nursing unit manager and see if there's a permanent role available, and that could really work in your favor. Step 5. Be open to aged care and GP clinics. I know when most people think of starting a nursing career, they picture themselves working in a hospital right away. But let's be real, hospital jobs, especially in metro areas, can be super competitive for nurses with no previous experience. That's why you need to keep your options open and consider aged care and GP clinics as a starting point. Let's talk about aged care first. Aged care might not be your dream job, but trust me, it can be an excellent stepping stone. Many new nurses start with aged care first, and then they use that experience and skills when they transition into the hospital setting later. And I feel a lot of new nurses think that once you're in aged care, that's it. You can never go to the hospital setting again. That's not true though. I myself know nurses at the hospital who used to work in aged care first, and now they actually work in high dependency areas of the hospital. So you can secure a job in aged care first and treat it like a stepping stone. And there's so many skills that you gain from working in aged care. First, let's talk about the clinical skills that you'll be gaining. Well, there's a lot of wound care, medication administration, patient assessments, and even palliative care. And secondly, more autonomy to nurses in aged care. Unlike the hospital setting where you work as a part of a large team, aged care often gives you more independence when it comes to patient care. There are usually so many nursing assistants working in aged care and only a handful of enrolled and registered nurses, which means that you're part of the leadership team already, and they're looking up to you for guidance. So in a way, nurses do have more autonomy when they work in aged care versus nurses who work in the hospital. And there's so many jobs available when it comes to aged care, because not a lot of nurses consider this as an option, especially new graduates. So landing at a job in aged care is relatively easier when we compare it to the hospital settings. And the good news is some hospitals in Australia actually value the aged care experience because it shows that you are capable, responsible, and compassionate, key qualities of a great nurse. Now let's talk about GP clinics. This is another way to gain experience as a new nurse. A lot of people overlook GP nursing, but it comes with some amazing perks, especially if you prefer a more slow-paced and more structured work environment. Well, the first one is experience with the diverse patient cases. You see all age groups at the GP clinic, from babies to elderly patients and everyone in between. From chronic disease management to wound care and immunizations, you'll build essential nursing skills. Unlike hospitals where patients just come and go, at GP clinics you will be seeing the same patients over time, which allows you to build long-term rapport with your patients. And thirdly, better work-life balance, especially when compared to the hospital shift work. Most GP clinics operate in daytime hours, which means there's no shift work. You won't have to work any night shifts, making it a great option if you prefer daytime hours and regular shift work. And many nurses start with GP clinics and then they move into more advanced roles with community health and even hospital settings. Okay, so let's say that you start with an aged care role or a GP clinic. So how do you actually use this experience to transition into hospital nursing? After working there for a few months, you can actually start applying for bridging programs and transition programs. Many hospitals offer pathways for nurses who have previous experience in aged care or GP nursing to transition into the hospital setting. I actually know a nurse myself who used to work in aged care for a very long time, and then she went through this transition program at the hospital I work at, and now she's been working at the neuro ward for the last few years. So instead of waiting for months for these hospital jobs to open up, why not just start working in an aged care or GP clinic and gain experience and keep your nursing career moving forward? Okay, the next step is where we consider rural and regional jobs. If you're struggling to find a job in Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane, here's the secret. Look at rural regional hospitals. Many of them are desperate for nurses and they're willing to hire nurses with no previous experience. And here are 3 reasons why you should consider these jobs. Well, the first one is less competition. Because not many new grads apply for these positions, you are more likely to get hired with 0 experience. Secondly, financial incentives. Many rural regional hospitals offer relocation bonuses and higher pay. This is to attract more nurses towards the regional areas of the country. And thirdly, it gives you extra points if you work in a rural remote area of Australia towards your permanent residency application. So if you're open to relocating, this could be a golden ticket. So this could be a short-term thing for you and you can move back as soon as there's a permanent position available in the metropolitan areas. So this is something that you can definitely consider, especially if you've exhausted all other options and you didn't really find a perfect fit for you. Relocating might be a good option. In the next step, I want to talk about networking like a pro. You'd be surprised with how many jobs come from word of mouth. The more people you know in the nursing community, more opportunities you'll hear about. So here are a few things that you can do to build your network in the nursing community when you don't have a lot of experience. Well, the first one is you can go and attend career fairs and hospital open days. This is actually a great way to meet the recruiters directly and have a conversation with them. You can ask them all the questions that you have in mind about what roles they're looking for, are there any current opportunities that you can potentially apply for, and secondly, you can connect with recruiters on LinkedIn. Well, to start with, make sure you have a LinkedIn profile and you can send messages to different recruiters expressing your interest of working with their organization. Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And networking in Australia in general goes a long way. Getting your first nursing job in Australia might be overwhelming, but trust me, it is possible. Follow these steps, stay persistent, and you'll get there. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you share it with your friend or someone who's also looking for their first nursing job in Australia. And if you need personalized guidance, I actually offer one-on-one consultations. Check the link in the description box below for more information. This is only a short-term thing that I'm trying because I'm currently working part-time, so I have more time on my hands. So the link may or may not be there depending on when you're watching the video. Anyway, good luck and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!